Boy, what a great weekend for everyone, I think. All of us feel that way. We hope you certainly do too. Every year that we do this, we have moments where we just look at each other and put the pencils down and stop talking when the microphone stops. Don't worry, it happens all the time to me. Those moments that we get are so joyous that we don't want to do anything. We don't want to do anything to interrupt the joy that we're receiving from what you're playing. And we all know as musicians, when we hit that moment, it's also joyous for us that we're happy that we can share what we do with people who have like minds and like what we're doing. We can tell that we're all in this together. So if you are enjoying what you're doing, then it's certainly going to translate to the listener. In pinpointing some of those things, being the rhythm section player and talking a lot about, I'm told that they defer to me somewhat in the rhythm section, I'm told. And then we discuss it. And one of the things that I was really knocked out with this year is that the drummers are not so afraid to hit things. And for years they were so careful, and you couldn't hear them. They did the drums weren't speaking, the cymbals, the band was just mopping the floor with the drums. So it's now people are hitting the drums. It's a fuller sound. Now what we have to do, drummers, is we've got to get a mezzo forte strength, because now everything is either too soft or it's too bombastic and too loud. Why are you laughing? You've heard me play. So we need to get that mid-range going where there's that strength in the time that we offer to the band. The great Mel Lewis said, know your time, sing your ride cymbal beat, be able to emulate that beat on the cymbal and offer it to the band. Don't make them play, but offer it to the band. And I feel like sometimes when we start crashing and bashing and hitting rim shots that we're making the band play, we're trying to make the band play. Just offer your strength and your beat. They want to lean on someone, and why shouldn't it be you? You chose that instrument. So be that person that the band can rely on. So having said that, in the rhythm sections I felt were locked in for the most part more this year. The guitars, the rhythm guitars, very good on it this year. There's still a little bit too much amplifier use when you're doing the Freddie Green quarter notes. I worked with Freddie Green in the Count Basie Orchestra, and of course there was no amp. Another thing is, why do we have to stand up to play a guitar solo? I played with Barney Kessel, Herb Ellis, Joe Pass. They didn't stand up for their solo. Joe Pass would stand up sometimes during the whole gig. But if you're comfortable, get set and go ahead and take your solo. Because it seems like when you stand up, for some reason, every time you stand up as a guitarist, the volume comes up. How does that work? So bring the band into your solo. Always invite the band into your solo as a guitarist. Bass players were strong this year in foundation of the band, and we appreciated that too. So all in all, thank you so much again for providing your joy for the music to us who would enjoy the joyous occasion too. So thanks to one and all.
All right, how's everybody doing? Well, I feel like the odd man out here because I'm from Los Angeles. This is an amazing festival. Everybody's been so nice. The judges, I can't believe I'm sitting next to these beautiful people. For me, I think the most amazing thing is how being in a section with mostly 3 trombones and the way that the blend was amazing. Some fantastic soloists. Wow, I mean, I was floored many times. One of the things I was advised is to really check out the scores, and I've never really delved into Duke Ellington's music, and I did this time. And I studied, and that's when I realized that the way Duke wrote for trombone was so unique, and that's what gave that Duke Ellington sound, just, intervals of a sixth, intervals of a fifth, because he had 3 trombones, only 3 notes, so he couldn't quite fill in the blanks, but his genius was so big that he was able to get that beautiful big sound out of just 3 trombones. And the one thing that I wish that maybe in the future band directors and so forth and the musicians themselves start looking at trying to tune up interval of a sixth as opposed to most big band writers write in thirds. And that was something really unique that really hit me, and I was like, wow, that's really, really, really hard to do, because you got, interval of augmented fifth sometimes in the bottom end, and you're not in the third trombone's not even playing the root. So that was one thing that I just really was very, very, it was eye-opening for me, because I'm definitely going to be exploring that, being a composer and arranger in Los Angeles, also orchestrator. That's something I'm going to be exploring in my works. But trombones, I mean, overall, just beautiful sound, especially Kenya, just over and over again. As much as I love it, and me, my 27 years with the Poncho Sanchez band in Los Angeles, I'm such a big advocate for Latin jazz and Latin music, and the fact that Todd and Ellington have brought it to this stage, such a huge stage, and really trying to make it another part of what essentially Ellington is. I mean, I get emotional because I'm always, when I go to schools and I do clinics, I'm always talking about Latin jazz, salsa, really want to incorporate it, not just some conga player just going to. And the Guido's usually, from Mexico, So, but the most important thing, and I think the most emotional thing for me was, or happy thing, was seeing full rhythm sections, timbales, congas, drums, and bongo, which is the 4 main elements. Bass players playing tumbao, it was fantastic, Piano players playing the on the piano, that's hard to teach. It's harder for bass players to play on 4. Oh, you gotta anticipate on B4. What? Wait a minute, I just barely got on, they told me to be on 1 now. So there you go, so you have to do all this other stuff. So I hope this continues, I hope that it grows, and I hope that every school in the world starts teaching the Latin aspect of all this beautiful music that we have, at least being Latino.
Hi everybody, I'm Alexa Tarantino. Hi. I just want to start by saying I am so proud of every single one of you. Today and yesterday were so amazing. Give yourselves a round of applause. And I know we have not only amazing band directors and band organizations, but I know we have a ton of family and friends in the audience who work tirelessly every day to get us to band practice and rehearsal and everything. So can we give a round of applause to our families who are here? I was in your seats 15 years ago from West Hartford, Connecticut, Hall High School. It's wild, and it's such an honor to be up here, and it just goes to show that really anything is possible for each and every one of you, whatever your dream is, whether it's to take this music further professionally or to keep it in your lives in whatever capacity. We need you to move it forward in whatever way moves you, so thank you for doing what you're doing. From a saxophone and woodwind perspective, I'm so inspired by the woodwind doubling that I'm seeing. It's something I'm so passionate about because I think it gives us such a wide palette to express ourselves. And when we study this music and listen to the recordings of these masters who have expressed themselves on soprano, clarinet, flute, alto, tenor, baritone, bass clarinet. To have a technical capacity on each of those is one thing, but to improvise is a completely different thing. And to have a sound that demonstrates an understanding of the tradition but also expresses your own character and your own personality, that's a whole other level. And each and every one of you that was doubling on those instruments, you're there, you're on your way, and it's really amazing. It's amazing to see, so keep that going. One thing, two things I'd love to encourage us all to focus on more are, well, the first one's dynamics. There is such beauty in seeing how soft you can play with an intensity that is almost stronger and a little bit more like gritty and almost terrifying than when you're playing super loud. So the analogy I always use is if you forget to make your bed in the morning and you come home from school, maybe mom or dad is like, Alexa, you forgot to make your bed again today. What are you doing? You know? Or you come home and mom or dad's like, Alexa, I am so disappointed in you. I have told you 7 days in a row to make that bed. That's almost worse, right? Raise your hand if you've been there. Yeah, I'm with you. So that's the type of energy we cannot be afraid to embody. It's great to be able to like really sing out loud and proud and strong and let it rip, but when you need to play that soft, you need more core support, you need more oomph, more attack, more bite, more grit in your playing. And I was talking to some people earlier, as a saxophonist, I'm sitting in my seat almost like a quarterback, like I could just pounce off this stage right now. Like that's how I'm feeling when I'm playing. You know, I'm really thinking about that. So I would love for us to really challenge ourselves to bring that spectrum of our dynamic playing, to really get in there and not be afraid to play softly. And then I think, you know, as you can hear, articulation is the other huge point. So we cannot let that slide. And when we're improvising and soloing, having that clarity of articulation, the pop in your lines, it shapes and it brings out that shimmer and that beauty in the music that we love. Everything that we're hearing in this music that we've been studying and playing all year, it's that articulation is what helps to make it shine and shimmer. So there's a lot that we're all sharing with you, and it's not something you're just gonna pick up and change in a day. It's amazing that you're here. This is a lifelong journey for all of us. We love you, we support you, and we're so proud of you. Thank you so much.
All right. Man, I started this in '96 in high school. And I think there's some of us here from that first year. I see Stephen Okendo and maybe Bruce Harris is around here. That's a long time ago. It's about 27 years, I think. And I've been dealing with EE for about 21 years since I joined the band. And it's unbelievable to see how much has grown, and especially how much the musicianship has grown. You know, sometimes we gotta sit back and you just gotta take this moment and just realize how fortunate we are to play an instrument, right? And to play with other people without having to push a button. In the times that we live in now, we might not have this opportunity much longer because of whatever it is out there. So the more you get to be with other humans, I feel like we get to grow and be something much more special. Every time I get the chance to judge, it's unbelievable. First I get to hang with Jeff and Wynn, who I dearly love, and then I get to hang with Alexa and my homie Francisco, who I've known for quite a long time, just because of the industry. Another thing I just want to talk about is just the fact that I can see congas, timbales, and bongos on stage, because my whole life, since I was 15, that's all I did. I mean, I was working with Tito Puente Primary. Wynn was the first jazz gig that I ever got. I'm not lying. And I was very lucky, I was very fortunate, and I was very fortunate because I have a friend who's here tonight, today. His name is Stephen Okendo, who out of his own heart asked, hey, why don't you come to Wynn's house and let him check you out so he can hear you play. At the time, I said, well, okay, whatever, I'll go, you know? And it was because of him and because of that moment that I'm here. So it's, everything is spiritual, right? Sometimes, maybe you're young, you don't understand it, but the older you get, you'll start realizing that these moments count. Bass players, unbelievable improvement, right? But now, we need to start working on developing a certain sound. So I saw a lot of bass players with their right hand pull the string harder than usual. And you can see it and you can hear it, especially when you go back and you hear the playback. So we need to start figuring out how to pull a good tone without having to overpull. We have to understand that the bass is not going to be the loudest instrument on stage, right? Once we could understand that, we could realize that we could work on a tone. When you work on your tone and you secure that when you play with the orchestra or any format of an ensemble, you could hear the bass. It's very fortunate, but if you do it right, it works out. And I think we should really concentrate on that for next year. Percussion players. I was very happy to see many of you attempting to play these rhythms. Some caught it perfectly the first time, but some didn't. I want you to go back and check out these recordings. If you get a chance, check out some videos. There are videos of musicians playing these instruments, and you can check out these patterns. All right? If you have any questions, try to seek out and figure them out. It's the first time we're doing this, especially the machito stuff, and there's going to be much more hopefully in the future, but it's very, it just makes me feel so great as a Latino from New York City and a lover of jazz music to see this combination and this integration that Williams has always had a vision of, and I have always loved to have been a part of it and still for the future. So I'm gonna keep it short. I love you guys. Thank you for what you're doing, and I pass it on to my man Wayne.
Carlos is saying, what everybody's saying, it's just how much fun it is to work with our panel. For me, it's especially so just from all spectrums of age. Jeff, I love, is my brother. We talking about all our health problems now. Reminds us of old people we played with. we actually have to just laugh about it. But that, Francisco, I didn't know, we didn't hang with it. It was great to just see his reaction to what we're doing and learn from how he's looking at stuff. And of course with Carlos and Alexa, that's like family. I remember when they played here, I have a deep love and respect for them. It's very personal, but that also means they're very free to express their opinions in the way they would like to do it. And they do it. And we need their leadership as we go into the future. So it's been especially emotional for me. It always is, just to hear younger people play. Just to see people playing with no music, understanding, being on the stage, how difficult it is to face your nerves and the things you have to do, to not want to let the ensemble down, to have difficult things to play, to think that beating people is important for you to do all the things you think when you're young. As you get older, you realize these things are not important. I always ask somebody, who can tell me what band won the Loyola Jazz Festival in 1977 when I was a sophomore in high school? There you go. That's how important it is. The things you take away from these experiences have nothing to do with beating people. It has to do with coming together with people. I was asked a lot of questions about innovation. So I'm going to give you all a thought about innovation. I want you to contemplate that we tend to think of innovation as a way for our names to be remembered in history. If you're not going to be here, it won't matter to you whether it's remembered or not. And I want you to think of two great innovative periods in American history. First is the Founding Fathers. How many geniuses were a part of that? And the revolution that they tried to instill wasn't the American Revolution. It was actually the Virginia Plan and the Constitution. And that document was debated over, and it's still alive. And we still have to debate and fight over it, even though we don't necessarily feel like doing it. Then it's the beboppers. If you think about who, Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, Max Roach, Miles Davis, on and on. You name the 8 or 10 musicians who at one time were the only 10 people in the world that could play that style. They came together and they played a certain way. And I'm going to tell you, like I'm saying in this period, our country needs a revolution. It's not a revolution of tearing the streets up. It's too much of a police state for you to conceive of being successful doing that. It needs a revolution in thought, in feeling, and in intention. So when you look around, you have to just adjust basic things in your thinking. Then the one thing is that there's not enough space for everybody. The world is a big place. There's space for everybody. We heard it on the bandstand. Everybody was playing. Some people played solos, some played parts. There's room. There's space. What I love about this is seeing you all sit down and listen to other bands and other people play your instrument and listening with a generosity that befits the level of privilege that we have. That you applaud for your colleagues and that you bring a type of love and genuine feeling to their achievement. Now think about that same type of feeling brought to revolutionary thought. I challenge y'all to bring the symbolism of this festival into your adult life. What normally happens is in high school, it's all this feeling. You get into college, it's more segregated and it's less, and then you become an adult and you become whatever it is that we do as adults. It's important to battle for the feeling of us coming together. And it is always a fight. It's a thing that's always, it's swinging like this. Like if you're in a family, if there's one chicken on the table, you get to get some of it and everybody else is going to eat. If you're greedy, you want more of it. And if you're not greedy at all, everybody else will take it. So you got to figure out, how can I fit in and make sure that my ecosystem stays balanced. It was great for me to see Scott and Steve come back. Our band directors, I love them so much. Everything they've contributed to this program, the attitude they brought, to see them applauded, and to see their programs pass on to the next generation, it gives me a sense of unbelievable pride. You all have no idea the type of love and depth of feeling they have for the students they've had, and what they contributed in the way that they changed the states that they live in. When you go to Wisconsin, it's very different, a different place, because of what they have done. The movement that took place in Seattle. These are things that are part of a long-standing revolution. Don't think that 100 years is a long time. It's short. In your life, now I'm 61. When I started playing, I was 6. I love to tell kids in elementary schools when I would go play with their bands in the morning, how long have you been playing? Oh, 53 years. Be like, huh? And you're still alive? Sorry. So it's important for us to realize our purpose is to see improvement over the decades. And the real improvement we want to see, we're not going to be alive when that starts to happen. I always think about people who built a cathedral that they started in 1340. Well, the cathedral was going to be done in 1685. So you built a wall if you were lucky. And that's the way we have to look at civilization, world civilization, universal humanism in general. The world has come a long way. We have a long way to go. Let's be in the vanguard of expanding the meaning of being a human being, not in contracting it. So I think we see that with jazz music and with Duke's music. Now I'm going to conclude by saying the importance of Afro-Latin music is a part, and a very integral and important part, of the American personality and persona. It's always been there. General Martin talked about it. And it's not an aside. All of it is a part of all of our persona. And it's important for us to round out our family tree and make sure that we're embracing as many people and customs and ways of looking at things, because our way of life and government allows us to embrace those things and make them be a part of us. It makes your personality develop, it makes you stronger, actually, in an ironic way, as an individual. In the same way that putting a little bit of salt on your tongue makes sugar more sweet. We have to understand the importance of embrace. We started out, we're learning these rhythms. Let's keep going. Let's learn the rhythms, the music. It deserves to be known. They're all forefathers that we all have and share. and their contributions are important to our identity. And there's 10 or 15 years from now, people are going to be playing the hell out of all of this music. When we first started, almost no one was playing clarinet. We didn't even have acoustic bass players. We used to always say a prayer, oh God of basses, please send us a champion. One year we had 3 bass players. One little redhead bass player really could play. We were like, damn, 3 bass players, 2 clarinets. Almost nobody could solo. Nobody was playing plunger beats. Nobody played these ensemble parts. Y'all are playing from memory, plunges from memory. Playing stuff from memory. The first year some kids played something from memory, me and Dave Berger were crying, and Jeff looked at me and said, damn, man, nobody taught these kids how to read. So, I'm going to conclude by saying this was probably the most contested judging we've had because of Carlos and Alexa. But it's good. It's good to be that way. We have another generation of thought. We're going to the videotape. We are not in agreement all the time, but we come to consensus and we compromise. It's what we have to do. It's our way of life. It's how our Constitution works. Still is contested. We go to the videotape and we listen. I want to say to everybody who is not in a band that wins or who does not win an award, that means absolutely nothing about the quality of your playing. It doesn't. So what I want you to do is, if you won something, use it as inspiration to win some more stuff. If you didn't win, use it as inspiration to show people how they can't hear. In either case, take positives away from experiences because that's all that can help you. Do not be discouraged. We're listening to you in a string of people. We have different opinions. We have different ways we hear. Sometimes we're accurate, sometimes we're right, and many times we are not right. The videotape proves that out. I lost 2 or 3 arguments this time. I'm still angry about it, but it's going down bitterly, but that's life. So the 3 bands we chose, in no particular order, are New World School of the Arts. Osceola County School. Susan Wagner. Let me finish up by saying one thing. If your band was not chosen, it does not mean you're a loser. This is a festival. Nobody loses when they come here. Remember, the challenge is to take this experience into your adulthood and to figure out how to come together more powerfully with people, not to be apart from them. We want y'all to have a good dinner. We want you to be back here for the concert at 7:30. I want to thank all of our judges who did a fantastic job. Francisco Torres, Jeff Hamilton. Thank you so much. Now Megan is going to come out and tell you all what's going on. Megan, the great Megan Kelly.
So our 3 top placing bands, congratulations. You can get your instruments and head to the VLS recording studio for dinner by 5 o'clock. There you're going to receive further instruction on sound check and some other details for the concert. All other bands, please clear instrument storage. Nothing should stay here at Frederick P. Rose Hall. Tonight's concert is sold out and it starts at 7:30 here in Rose Theater. If you hold tickets but you don't plan to come, please deliver them to the audience services table out front. We have a pretty long list of folks that are trying to get in tonight. A reminder that tonight, the judges will already know first, second, and third place winners, so the concert is a showcase and a celebration and not part of the competition. Winners will be revealed at the award ceremony. The first half of the concert will feature the 3 top placing bands, and the second, the Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra, and an award ceremony will follow. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you all tonight.